it's the women's game as well.
Question from the Zoom. It's kind of a two-parter here.
Okay.
Last week in Boca, you finished T11 in some tough conditions. What did you learn about your game last week that you're bringing into this week at Crown Colony?
Yeah, Lake Nona, we had some cold, adverse conditions on Saturday, Sunday, and I didn't play as well as I wanted to. Part of that was just knocking the rust off, which I was fully aware of. But I was super happy with how I handled myself mentally, and obviously I had to produce good shots on Saturday with the wind and the cool that it was at Boca Rio. So for me, it was just kind of, putting on the grind hat and knowing that it's not going to be easy and overcoming mental and just knowing what shots to hit in the right situations. So for me, I probably wasn't sure how I was going to perform when I came out, just because I took a good amount of time off, which I needed. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really know what my game would look like. So for me, seeing a T11 in the second week out, that's pretty exciting for me, and knowing that my game, despite taking, some time off, isn't too far from where it needs to be. So it's exciting, and coming into this week, I hope that I can put together some good golf like I did last week.
That T11, as you said, was a really good sign. You talked earlier with Steve about being in contention in majors. Are those your big goals, to just be in contention throughout this year? What are some of the goals that maybe you've set for yourself throughout this next season?
Yeah, I think just overall the consistency. The more times and the more weeks I can be really consistent, I believe in my game enough to know that, I can have solid weeks. Mm-hmm. But I think the true differentiator might be, truly putting myself in contention as often as I can. And that's a physical and mental battle if you do that every single week. So I'm that's the goal that we all set for ourselves, I'm mm-hmm. sure. But yeah, majors are probably an emphasis for me, just making sure that I'm, trying to do everything that I can to peak at the right times, and, obviously have my best at just regular season events too. But having it all together for a full year and being competitive at every event is a huge goal.
Now, a little bit more on the lighter side. Done a practice round yet, and what do you think of this course?
I played the front nine. I'm going to play the back nine and possibly the front nine again today. Yeah, it's good. It's pretty generous off the tee on some holes, and then it kind of necks in on a few. Mm-hmm. So it's got a little bit of variety to it. The greens are really good. They've got a little bit more speed than we had last week. And with the wind that we saw yesterday, if it stays windy, obviously when you're downwind, they have a little bit of firmness to them. So it'll be interesting, just kind of condition wise, kind of how windy it is to how low scores can be. But I mean, I could see scores being pretty low with what I saw in the front nine.
All right. Looking ahead for this week, have you played a couple holes out there? Have you gone through a practice round? What do you think of Crown Colony as you've gotten ready for the Drive On Championship?
Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised. I didn't know the golf course. I heard from other members down where I play in Naples that it's a very good golf course. And I came here, and yesterday I played the back nine. I played the front nine on Monday, and especially I'm pretty excited about the back nine. I think it's really a great looking golf course. Very fun to play. It's difficult. It's narrow at times, and it's just a really nice, I think, design. So I think, and it's in very good shape. Really good greens, around the greens, very nice. So I'm actually pretty excited to get out there, hopefully in slightly less windy conditions.
Yes, this past couple events, and also as you look ahead to the stretch that you have, are you testing any new equipment? Are you thinking about any changes, and have you made any changes?
That's another thing. If you know me, there's likely a club in my bag that's at least 2 to 3 years old. I don't like to make very many changes. I haven't made that many. I still have the same irons, the same putter. I did put a new driver in the bag. But I think that's another reason why I decided not to play Singapore and Thailand, is I felt like my off season wasn't long enough after our CME Tour Championships. So I wanted to give myself that 6-week block that we have to actually try out some new equipment, kind of see if there's any anything that I want to replace in the bag. I think most of the stuff I have I really like, and it's always hard for me to justify changing anything, especially when I feel like I'm playing well. But yeah, I think this is the last week I'm going to play probably with the setup I have right now, and then I'm going to dive into that a little bit the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Start things off. You've had 2 impressive performances the last 2 weeks as we get ready for this third event of 2022. How comfortable are you feeling in your game? And just take us through what the last 2 weeks have been like.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to be in contention and climbing the leaderboards on both weekends. It's pretty cool. You know, in the off season, I really wanted to put in some work, and I'm really happy with how things have progressed over the last couple months. And you know, to see some of the hard work pay off is really cool. And I think I'm just a few shots away and a couple breaks away from getting the next W, which is really exciting. And it's just been a lot of fun out on tour these last 2 weeks.
I'll tie in a question from the Zoom on this. You talk about your off-season work, but you also made some changes as well with the Titleist ball. the tailor-made ball there. Just what are some of the changes you've seen reflected in the past adjustments you made this year already?
Yeah, switching to the TP5X has been a huge change for me. It's really exciting. Right away I saw huge improvements, and to have 2 top 10 finishes and a hole-in-one right after I switched, I feel like I definitely made the right decision, and it's exciting moving forward, and I'm excited to play it this week. And it's been really windy, and I feel like that ball flies really well in the wind, so hopefully that'll give me a little bit of confidence.
All right, one more before we open it up for questions here. What have you taken away from your game the last 2 weeks? I know you've had a little sneak peek of Crown Colony as well, but what has it been like getting used to this course here?
Yeah, I was able to play here once during the off season, which was nice just to kind of get a first look at the course and how it was going to play. And then, coming in this week, it has been very windy, so it'll definitely be a big challenge if it continues over the next 3 days. But, just trying to get the right lines off tees. And, for the most part, I think you can be aggressive. It just kind of depends on the conditions on the wind, but I think you can be aggressive here and make a lot of birdies. So hopefully I'll be making a lot and climbing the leaderboard.